took Undertaker out of action for 3 months, but it also did permanent damage to his vision.
And to this day, I still have double vision. So I can look straight and I'm fine, but to look kind of like my peripheral vision, everything becomes opaque.
Titus O'Neil's slip.
Wow, that could be a great strategy for anybody that, you know what I'm saying, you're getting that ring with him. Matter of fact, all you gotta do is step to the right. He can't see you. Handle your business, my boy. Shit, I would probably do that, bro. If I was in the ring with the Undertaker, I'd step to my right real quick. He like, huh? What? Boom, nigga. Boom, nigga. Boom. Boom. 1, 2, 3. What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Eli the Don. Welcome back to another video, and today we are reacting to wrestling moves that almost kill people. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and be glad that you're not in this video.
You're gonna be really glad you aren't this guy.
Moose getting involved.
This wrestler's chest was so sweaty that his opponent's hand slid and hit him in the throat. The wrestler couldn't breathe and actually had to leave the ring and didn't sell the move. Thankfully, he was okay and continued the match. But this next wrestler wasn't so lucky. The main event of the February 6, 2012 episode of Raw was a 6-pack challenge. 2 of the participants were The Miz and R-Truth. During the match, Truth sent Miz to the outside and then tried to hit a springboard splash.
Damn.
However, The Miz failed to catch R-Truth and the future 24/7 champion landed straight on his back. Truth had difficulty moving and was unable to continue the match, but did recover. This next move, though, is extremely dangerous and was actually banned in WWE. AJ Styles' Clash has caused many neck injuries. The reason it's so dangerous is that the person taking the finisher,
They have to tuck their fucking head.
has to whip their head back. While this seems simple, most wrestling moves require the person taking the move to tuck their chin in. But if you do that while taking the Styles Clash, it can result in your head and neck being crushed. A British wrestler named Lionheart fell victim to the Styles Clash and actually broke his neck. Doctors told Lionheart he might never walk again, and he was out of action for a year. Sometimes though,
That is so fucking crazy, bro. Because he was just sitting there just like, oh, it's just some ordinary move. I don't have to do too much, and crack! Out of action.
it's the simplest moves that can be the most dangerous. During a 2 out of 3 falls match for the Women's Championship, the challenger, Candice Michelle, was climbing the ring post. The champion, Beth Phoenix, countered by throwing her body into the top rope, causing Candice to fall to the mat. However, Michelle landed incorrectly, and you can instantly tell that Candice wasn't okay. Phoenix realized this and pinned her opponent to end the match. Once Candice got to the hospital, it was discovered that she had suffered a cracked clavicle. Michelle did recover, however, and was back in action within 14 weeks. Talking about simple moves though, this guy was inches away from being paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Price it in. Oh, he's elevated. Good God, he just ricocheted off the top rope.
Chair shots to the head are banned in most major wrestling companies, and for good reason. During his run in Impact Wrestling, Jeff Hardy had recently turned heel. During an episode of Impact, Hardy ran into the ring and smacked Mr. Anderson in the back of the head with a chair. It's tough to watch, and it gets even worse. The chair shot caused Anderson to start bleeding, and it was nasty. It even looked like Jeff Hardy knew he had messed up. Unfortunately for Anderson, this wasn't the first time this had happened. At Survivor Series 2006,
and they trying to say that him giving Randy Orton a good old back suplex was bad. Yeah, fuck you. Mr. Kennedy is the greatest of all time.
Mr. Anderson took on The Undertaker in a First Blood match and won. However, afterward, Undertaker got his revenge.
He actually said that it hurt, so kind of agree. I kind of can't agree with this one.
Even fans had to look away because that chair shot was so brutal. In 2010, The Undertaker fought Rey Mysterio in the main event of SmackDown. In the final moments of the match, Mysterio hit his signature seated senton from the top rope, but accidentally landed on Undertaker's face. The botched move gave the dead man a concussion, as well as a broken nose and orbital bone. The injury took Undertaker out of action for 3 months, but it also did permanent damage to his vision.
And to this day, I still have double vision. So I can look straight and I'm fine, but to look kind of like my peripheral vision, everything becomes opaque.
Titus O'Neil's slip.
Wow, that could be a great strategy for anybody that, you know what I'm saying, you're getting that ring with him. Matter of fact, all you gotta do is step to the right. He can't see you. Handle your business, my boy. Shit, I would probably do that, bro. If I was in the ring with the Undertaker, I'd step to my right real quick. He like, huh? What? Boom, nigga. Boom, nigga. Boom. Boom. Hmm. 1, 2, 3.
Up at the Greatest Royal Rumble is one of the funniest moments in WWE history.
Damn.
However, that doesn't mean Titus was safe. In fact, quite the opposite. O'Neal was inches away from hitting his head on the metal beam that holds up the ring. We don't even need to speculate what could have happened, because it did. During a New Japan Pro Wrestling event, a wrestler named Yoshihashi was running towards the ring and tripped. The fall caused him to hit the metal part of the ring and bust open. While Yoshihashi continued with the show, it was clear he wasn't all there, and the injury actually sidelined him for several months. While this was a pure accident, sometimes a wrestler gets hurt due to someone's carelessness. On an episode of WCW Nitro, the NWO assaulted Macho Man Randy Savage and took him to the ring. Big Show was in charge of carrying Savage, but accidentally fell when standing on the ring steps. Macho Man hit the floor and nearly smacked his head on the ring post on the way down. The landing had to hurt, but luckily Randy wasn't seriously injured, although I'm sure Big Show got in trouble backstage. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but what did you think was going to happen? At an independent wrestling event, two wrestlers, Warhorse and Gary J, were having a last man standing match. It was a very brutal fight, as the two wrestlers wreaked havoc all over the venue as well as the ring. At one point, Gary J took part of the turnbuckle and put it inside his
Man, who the fuck is that? Rip off Sami Zayn?
mouth. Jay then threw Warhorse out of the ring, but in doing so, the hook on the turnbuckle got yanked out of Warhorse's mouth. Instantly, a pool of blood began to form. Warhorse finished the match, but the botched move left him with a disfigured mouth and a permanent scar. What I'm really wondering though, is how Montez Ford is still able to walk after this. The plan was for Seth Rollins to trip Montez so Ford wouldn't actually flip over the top rope. However, Rollins was a bit late, and in the moment, Montez followed through on the spot. While Ford was at risk of a serious back injury, he was okay and wasn't out of action for too long. Sadly, this next wrestler had his career cut short due to one bad move. One of the most dangerous tag team finishers was the Road Warriors Doomsday Device, and for very good reason. In 1997, the Road Warriors were taking on the Godwins. The ending saw Hawk and Animal give the Doomsday Device to Henry Godwin. However, Godwin ended up landing on his neck. The impact caused him to crack his C7 vertebra, and he was out of action for about 2 months. However, doctors actually advised Henry Godwin to take more time off, but the WWE wrestler didn't. This sadly came back to bite him, as about a year later, Godwin re-injured his C7 vertebra. This time, the injury was more severe, and it forced Henry Godwin to retire. Normally in wrestling though, it's the person who is taking the move that's in the most danger. However, that's not the case with this wrestler's finisher. Once Nikki Bella started focusing on her singles career in WWE, she introduced a new finisher called the Rack Attack. The move saw Nikki place her opponent on her shoulders and then drop down to her knees. It was a good finisher, but unbeknownst to Bella, the Rack Attack was slowly breaking down her neck. Nikki Bella shared that she started experiencing numbness in her toes and feet, and in some cases couldn't move her legs. The pain finally got so bad that Nikki visited a doctor who made a shocking discovery. The diagnosis revealed that Bella's vertebrae had shattered, and this was putting a lot of pressure on her spinal cord. It was so bad, in fact, that the former Divas champion was one bad accident away from paralysis. Thankfully, Bella underwent surgery that not only healed her, but also allowed her to return to the ring. After cashing in Money in the Bank and winning the Raw Women's Championship, Nikki ASH had her first title defense at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, Nikki nearly turned to ash. At one point, Nikki ASH and Rhea Ripley were on the outside. Charlotte Flair got on the top rope and hit her signature corkscrew moonsault. However, the impact caused Nikki's head to smash into the ringside barricade. It looked pretty bad, and it was clear it took a toll on Nikki ASH. Despite that, however, Nikki finished the match. Triple H's finisher, the pedigree, is pretty iconic. However, the original pedigree had to be banned due to how dangerous it was. The game would keep his opponent's arms hooked the entire time, which made it difficult for the person taking the move to protect their face. This led to some extremely risky moments, like when Triple H pedigreed Mick Foley onto a pile of thumbtacks.
Oh no, thumbtacks! A second pedigree on the thumbtacks!
While Foley did walk away okay, not all wrestlers were so lucky. During one match, Triple H was wrestling against an enhancement talent named Marty Garner. Garner wasn't familiar with Triple H's finisher, and thus he took the move incorrectly. The botched finish caused Garner to land on his head and injure his neck. Luckily, it wasn't life-altering.
He thought he was going to become the next Triple H with that cell.
and Garner was eventually able to continue to wrestle. Now, one of the most violent finishing moves in WWE was Randy Orton's punt kick. It actually got permanently banned, and to find out the real reason why, watch the video on screen.
Anyway, you guys, these were fucking insane, and I'm glad everybody is okay. You know, I'm glad everybody made it out okay, you know, and shout out to the ones that actually finished the match. Shout out to the ones that knew they were fucked up, but they still continue to fight. But anyway, you guys, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And I catch y'all with another video. Peace.